Hey guys, and welcome back to the Vapeful. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Plume RDA. This is actually the Plume RDA clone, and I'm actually got all these parts for it like all over the place. Let me go ahead and just assemble it real quick. But this thing is a halfway decent device. This is actually the device that my wife uses on her. So this is the RDA right here. I believe you guys will be able to see that. Trying out a new camera so you guys can kind of see things a little bit better. Seeing if it'll autofocus or not. I'm not sure if it actually will. There we go. So it does work pretty good, and so we're going to start doing videos this way if we can. I'm going to try to get a different setup to work for it. But you guys should be able to see things a little bit better this way. Anyways, this Plume RDA, my wife uses this on her Sir Lancelot mechanical mod. Already did a review of this, so now we're moving on to the actual Plume Veil. So let's go ahead and just get right into that, guys. And we're going to start with the actual breakdown of this bad boy. So this thing actually comes apart into three different parts, or well, technically four. First you have your drip tip, but you don't really need to worry about that. It then has a plastic ring here on the inside, and this does loosen. However, it can have a tendency to be a little bit tight. So what I like to do is rotate it from the inside out, which I'll do here, and just completely take it apart for right now so you guys can see what it looks like. And it's very difficult to get to work, but what that does when you actually unscrew it is there's some holes on the outside here, and this is the version 1 clone, but those holes actually allow more airflow from the top, so it's a top airflow. So what I like to do, and you can see I'm screwing it in and out this way, is I like to make sure that this is sitting just below flush on the RDA. Now, one thing you have to watch out for when you do that, though, is that sometimes it will be so far down that you actually will not be able to sit it onto the RDA the right way, like it is right now. So I'm actually going to have to screw this up a little bit more just to even be able to get my RDA to actually sit flush on the bottom part as well as the top with no gap in between, but still able to actually adjust the airflow here on the side. Now, this has the ability to do your single coil. It also has the ability to do dual coils, which is the build that I have in this device right now. Well, I'll get into that in a sec. And then, of course, the drip tip, as I said. So let's go ahead and just take this apart. Along with that, there is also this outer ring. And this outer ring is made of what feels like aluminum because it's really, really light. And it has airflow adjustment that actually lines up with the side of the RDA on both sides for dual coil builds to allow even more airflow. And that airflow actually comes out into the inside of the RDA where the flavor actually is. Because of that, though, it has a tendency to spit a little bit, which I don't like, but you know, we'll get into that in a little bit. Not only that, but it also really chafes the inside of this thing up a lot. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it really does. There we go. It really does chafe that inside lip up quite a bit. I'm trying to see if this camera is going to be better or not, but there we go. You can see it really does chafe the inside of that up there. So anyways, I have a dual coil build going on right now with this bad boy. This thing is sitting at 0.03 ohms right now. I actually just cleaned this. These coils are only a couple of days old. But I already know that it's a 0.3 ohm build because I put it onto my ohm reader. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit this on top of the RDA, and then what I want to do is go ahead and dry burn these because they're still a little bit wet and they're also a little dirty from old juice and flavorings. So I want to get rid of that until I can get them, you know, glowing nice and hot and red. And I can tell that they're actually off a little bit from one side to the other. One actually fires before the other, so I'm going to have to fix that. And, you know, part of that could be the water, but as you guys can see, if I actually put that onto the section where the camera is and I fire those, the one on the, looks like the right-hand side for me, for you guys at the left-hand side, actually fires first by a little tiny bit. So what I want to do is get those glowing red hot best I can, and then I simply want to press those coils together, and I want to get those to kind of you know, fire at the same time. So, and there we go. I've got these bad boys now firing pretty much at the exact same time. You can see them there. They get glowing hot red, and then it stops. And I'm trying to get this camera's focus to work. It's definitely having to like readjust, and it'd probably help if I got a background, like more of a flat background behind it, but because it's a webcam, it's, you know, giving me a little bit of trouble. But anyways, moving on. So once you have that, then you would wick it, of course, which I will actually do and then come back on screen to show you guys. Or actually, you know what? We could just go ahead and wick this right here. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright, so when it comes to wicking this, I have two pieces of cotton here, and I'm just going to kind of pull them apart a little bit. And I'm not super worried about wasting cotton right now, to be honest, because I have tons of it. You want to get this one side a little bit wet, not too much, but just a little bit. And you kind of want to twist it until it is just a little bit smaller than the actual coil that you're wanting to put it in. Alright, so the first thing that I do is I get a little bit of cotton through it just like that, and then you can just kind of twist and pull at the same exact time to get the rest of the cotton to flow freely through it, or through the device. One thing that you want to keep in mind with this Plume Veil clone though is that it does have a tendency to get hot, so just be careful of that. And then once you get that side done, you got to do the other side. But that's kind of what it's supposed to look like there. It looks pretty good. Trying to see if that camera's going to autofocus once again, but and there we go. So you're going to have to put your hand behind it. But there you go, guys. Alright, so from there, I'm going to go ahead and put my battery back in. Screw in my bottom part here. So I have some Jaguar from VaporBots. Review on them is coming soon. Let's go ahead and put some juice on these wicks, and then we'll light her up and see how she rolls. Alright guys, so that was the Plume Veil RDA clone semi-build video, review, things like that. Let's go ahead and give it a shot on the vapor for it. Remember that right now I have like literally all of the airflow options wide open on this thing. And let's see how she vapes. One thing I will say is that it's a very airy draw. a lot of air in this thing. For me, probably too much. I like a denser vapor. So I'm actually going to take this and close off these dual holes a little bit, and we'll give that a shot. Yeah, with that little bit of resistance, it's a lot better tasting for me. It does do a fairly good job. I will say that I am a little upset about how cheap this clone is. Usually, you know, with the clones, they're usually built pretty decently, but honestly, this is just really bad manufacturing. I got this for my wife because it was white and it matched the rest of the mod that I got for her. Oh man, there isn't really anything good that I can say about this other than that the actual deck where you would insert your coils to is higher than some of the other RDAs that I've seen, and so that's easier to build on, especially if you're like a beginner or newer to getting into rebuildables and things like that. One other thing I don't like is it gets really, really, really hot very fast. I mean, you literally can only take maybe 3-4 drags on it, and it's hot to the touch. The tip that they sent is super, super thin metal, and it just gets blazing hot for no reason at all. A couple of other things about it that I don't like is that the screws in it, they tend to get loose very easily. I'm not sure why. I think that they actually come to like a little bit of a point, and they should just be flat, and I think that would actually keep it down in there more. And it's not like they get, you know, come completely unscrewed entirely, but they're definitely not, it's just definitely not the best RDA. Flavor's good, has a lot of airflow options. If you're trying to chase clouds, you may be into that. I'd have to use a way denser juice and probably a lot more cotton in this thing, honestly, if I was going to do some cloud chasing, you know. But closing off that airflow for me gets a lot more of the flavor in there, and I like that better. But that's just personal preference. The flavor's good. The flavor is there, and it does have decent cloud production, don't get me wrong, but overall, I would probably only give this specific Plume Veil RDA clone maybe a 5 out of 10, and the only reason I'm giving it a 5 is because it is easy to build on, but other than that, don't buy this. I would not recommend the Plume Veil RDA at all. I'll give you guys a little bit of a close-up of it, and I don't really know. There we go. But you can see there, it's got the Plume Veil logo on it. But yeah, overall, I'd give it a 5 out of 10. I wouldn't buy it, honestly. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of The Vape Fold. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back for more. And also, guys, if you could like and comment the video for me, that would be absolutely awesome. And I'll see you guys next time here on The Vape Fold.